Curly, did you hear? Maya's butt is actually flat and not round.
Oh my God, that's crazy because it has like an insane gravitational pull.
Oh my God, I know.
And you know what I heard? I heard that Curly's nose is real.
Where'd you hear that?
Well, it's been debunked. It's actually not. I mean, it's questionable.
Oh.
Get in here! My name is Curly.
And I'm Maya.
And welcome to the Super Secret Bestie Club
podcast. A super secret club where we talk about super secret things.
Yeah, like secrets that are super.
That's what it is.
In each episode, we'll talk about love, friendship, heartbreaks, men, and of course, our favorite secrets. Get in here! I mean, it's real-ish. But I wouldn't trust my newborn child to come out with this nose. I'd be like fearful that it would be my old one.
Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Literally, if I had a kid, it would just be like, I'd be like that meme that people are like, this mother got sued because she looks so different. You remember that meme?
No.
Anyways.
Welcome to another episode of the Super Secret Bestie Club podcast. We're feeling a little silly and quirky today.
Yeah, absolutely. What a world we have woken up in today, right?
Oh, so right now it's November 7th, 2024 at 11:30 a.m. And yeah, we're still grieving, mourning, and processing. I have faith in the astrology girls and the spiritual girls. I have a lot of faith, and a lot of people might think that that's a conspiracy theory. Segueing into our topic today is conspiracy theories. But before we get into that, how is your spirit, Curly?
My spirit is questionable. I feel kind of like not sure if how stable I am. Like, I'm okay. But you ever like when you have to like poop and you're getting like the chills? And you're like, oh, am I gonna make it?
You have to like hold on to something.
Yeah, you tighten your hole, you like grip it. And
like
you're
you have to go to the bathroom and you're running to the bathroom.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm not good. And you get the chills and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna go right
turtling.
now. And then it stops and then it comes back and you're like, oh, maybe I am good.
That is the most disgusting feeling, is to feel the turtle. To feel whatever it is go back in. That is disgusting.
I have never turtled. I have never had a successful turtle because what comes out stays out. So there's no going back. There's no like, I don't know how people's sphincter can suck it back in. Like,
oh. Yeah.
If your sphincter has the ability to suck a piece of shit back into itself, what else can it do?
It's a time portal. It's a time traveling time portal.
Let's put a boba straw in there. Let's see what else it can
do. Yeah, I'm sure everyone would love to hear that. On my OnlyFans. Only on my OnlyFans.
Mine has zero grip. Mine has zero suction. It's just she's beaten and tattered. She's like, girl.
She's like this. What?
She has like a walker. She's like, girl,
we're over here.
I've been working since 2004. And they age differently too. They're like dog years. They're not like every year she turns another 7 years.
No, yours is perky. Yours is like, hey.
Mine's like all muscular.
I'm like, who's talking? She always talks to me.
Mine's
she
like
always
those
talks
crazy
to me.
Bodybuilders. Oh my God.
But with like the nails like this, and the hoops, and the glossy lips.
But like insane biceps and triceps.
Anyway. So
yeah.
I'm feeling very like I was just crying all day yesterday. And, you know, we don't want to make this like all about the election and stuff, even though I feel like a lot of people are getting a lot of information out of it or from it and from everywhere. But it just is a sad, super sad time. I believe in our astrology and spirituality girlies that this is not going to be the end. This is not it. There's something else. There's something more.
I mean,
and this is what I need to cling on to, some little hope to cope. Then that's what I need. But
what did you say? Cling on to some little cloak of hope? What did you say?
If I need to cling on to some little hope to cope.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I was like, wait, you just said like poetry, some little hope to cope. Yeah, that's
what I need to do. It sucks. But today we are talking about some outlandish silly, goofy conspiracy theories that we asked ChatGPT to provide us, and also just the big conspiracy theories that we all hear.
Yeah.
Starting off with the flat Earth theory.
Well, I did want to say too that it's kind of crazy because we live in a world where like the American people and just a lot of people globally are starting to believe more and more in conspiracy theories. It's kind of crazy because I remember years ago I got into an Uber and this woman was telling me, she was like, you see that chemtrail up there? She's like, they're controlling the weather. And I was like, oh yeah, I've like heard that before. Like I didn't think anything of it. And then she kept going. She's like, you know, Beyonce like had to murder babies to like become part of the Illuminati.
So
and
you
I was
agree,
like,
you're a fan of Beyonce.
I was like, so we like her? We don't. Well, but I remember getting to the party that I was on the way to and telling people like, oh my God, I just had like the most insane Uber ride. Like this woman was just telling me how Beyonce kills people to like be famous. But now I feel like you're seeing more and more people kind of like buying into a lot of different conspiracy theories. And it almost feels like as outlandish as they might be, there's still a lot of people that are like, no, I kind of actually really believe that. And I'm like, aha.
My dad, yeah.
So where did we left off? We left off talking about conspiracy theories. But yeah, I feel like, you know, can I tell you where I think conspiracy theories started to become a part of the zeitgeist?
Yes.
I blame Ancient Aliens. And I always say that.
The
show.
Program?
Yeah. Because I don't know if you remember when Ancient Aliens came out, it was like this new thing and everybody was like, oh my God, are you guys watching Ancient Aliens? It's so crazy. Like they're literally talking about how they think this is like an alien. And it became kind of like more, this is my own theory, by the way. It became more of like out in the open that like, not only were we talking about aliens, we were talking about aliens building the pyramids. That's my theory. And we were like, it became a little bit more out in the open.
If we're talking about aliens, my dad watched every single episode, every single season of Ancient Aliens. I grew up watching it, especially with well, our dads are the same. We throughout our friendship for like they would be best friends, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, I used to watch Ancient Aliens too. That was my jam. It's still my jam. Like sometimes.
But I would watch it not because I wanted to, but because I was like taking a nap or sick, and my dad was like watching in the living room, and it would scare me so much. But my dad's like, you can't be scared of aliens because they're a fact of life. Like one of these days, he's like, look at this painting I just did. And it's like this whole painting of the aliens coming down. And like, listen, if you're a conspiracy theorist, girly, hang on.
I mean,
here we go.
Can I just say one more thing about aliens, though? Because we had a conversation about this. We were talking about this like military officer that kind of came out recently about like aliens and like UFOs and all those things, and how he's like, no, they're real. Like we are doing actual government research on things that we cannot identify. And they were asking him like what he thinks aliens look like. And he was saying that since like ancient times, there has always been animal and human. And like that, those are just the things that like have existed. Like in the Bible, like all these things, animal and human. But it wasn't until like whatever year that we found out that there's microorganisms and that there's like mini cosmos inside of our bodies and outside of us, like inside and outside. Why does this sound so familiar? Did we talk about this? I feel like
we did, and then I know my answer. I remember my response. Go ahead.
He was saying like, and there's more of them than there is of us. Like there's more of these microorganisms than there's of us. So like, who really is like the masters of the earth? Who really is like?
Speaking about booty holes.
Yeah, I mean, you have like little spiders on
obsessed.
Your butthole. Yeah.
No, they're obsessed.
Let me see, butthole.
Haven't they probed enough people? What more do you need to know, huh? I have said before, I think I've said this on the podcast before too, that I believe that like, you know, the pressure in like the deep blue sea where it's like we've only discovered a small percentage of it. And the rest of it is so deep because of the pressure we can't get in there. I believe that not only it's the pressure, but it's aliens store their ships there. So it's like a protection barrier. And I know what you're thinking. It's like that one movie where the aliens were underwater. I'm not talking about underwater aliens. I'm talking about alien ships in the ocean. That's why we can't get down there so much.
Do you believe that like wholeheartedly?
Well, I believe that it's the pressure of like, you know, the water and how deep it is for sure. But I think that is like gives aliens possibly like the go ahead because they probably don't have to deal with that sort of like gravity or pressure or whatever. And so they'll just store their ships down there.
That's what this guy was saying too. He was saying like that we don't know the ocean. Everybody says that, like, we don't know the ocean. We don't know the ocean. Like, we don't have the capabilities and the science of like getting down that deep. But, you know, which I mean does kind of maybe bring us to our first conspiracy theory.
The flat Earth theory. For people who don't know, but you probably know, flat Earth theorists argue that the Earth is not a sphere, but a flat, disc-shaped object. They claim that governments and scientists are covering up the truth. Why it's popular, this theory has experienced a resurgence due to social media communities that share and promote the idea, probably due to TikTok, right? It's often cited as a symbol of skepticism toward mainstream science. I don't think the Earth is flat, girl. Like,
I mean, a lot of people think that it's flat because of like certain things. Like, for example, like they kind of point out like the horizon, right? Like the sun going down a certain type of way.
They're like then we'll just fall. How come we don't just fall off the ocean if we're a globe? How come we don't just fall off? We're in an atmosphere. We're in like deep layers. Like when you come from space and the orbit and all that shit, and you go in, and then like you go in, and then it's like we're in Earth. We're not. It's not like we're not on a ball. Do you believe in it?
I don't believe in it because I do think that like I'm a big believer in science, right? Like I'm like, no, like it's a sphere. It like has its own orbit, its own gravitational pull. You can see literally other planets. Like we can see what they look like. Like that's my whole thing. Like I'm like, we know what Mars looks like. It's a sphere. We know what like all these other planets. We look at the moon and it's fucking round. Like I'm sure if there's like photos of, I don't know. Like I wonder if photos of the moon. I wonder if like the horizon is flat too, or if it's round.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like the next one is the moon landing was fake because they can just stage those pictures. And I remember our friend Matt Riel, who used to work at BuzzFeed with us and who's a Viner back in the day. That's how we met. He made a video challenging the like theory of that the moon landing was fake, but kind of was like on both sides of like, okay, let me see why they think it was fake. Okay, let me see why people don't think that it was fake. And he got like a bad rap for like people just assuming that he was a flat earther, or he thought the moon landing was fake.
You know what's really interesting to me though about the flat Earth thing is that a lot of scientists actually believe that while the Earth is not flat, the universe is flat. So that's also like
too much for my brain to comprehend. It's at full capacity right now. My storage is full.
So like, I mean, even according to this, it's like the shape of the universe is determined by its density and rate of expansion. So like the universe is flat.
Yeah, it just keeps.
But also I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It just keeps expanding. So yeah. Is the universe flat or curved? The current theoretical belief, which is predicted by the theory of cosmic inflation, is that the universe is flat. This is on, I don't know, Wikipedia says that it's flat.
Hey, we should have had like an astronomer on the podcast, huh?
Yeah.
Next time.
But I mean, also too, like the moon landing being fake, like a lot of people talk about how like there's like wind in the flag that's like flying. Like when you look at the video, there's like, the flag is like flying, but they're like, how is there wind on the moon? You know, I don't know, like, why is there wind on the moon?
As a part of the Cold War space race against the Soviet Union, that's the claim that it was fake.
Oh, for sure, because that was kind of like the time, right? Like that was the whole thing, that it was like, who's going to get to the moon first? Americans or Russia? Who was going to have like control over all these things? Because if
that's something we would do to win the race. We'd be like, "But girl, let's just go somewhere. Did you rent your space outfit? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you do yours? Yeah. We are in outer space, everyone."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, I'm like, I think I heard somewhere too that somebody said like, we did land, but the photos weren't real. So we were there. I did hear that too, but like, you know, like there's just some shit that I actually don't care about, that I'm like,
yeah,
I actually don't care.
People are getting lost in space right now. Like,
yeah. I'm like,
stop going to the moon. Stop going to these places. It's okay.
So just to kind of like put a little button in that, I don't believe the Earth is flat, and I do believe that we landed on the moon.
Yes, same. Me too.
And I'm like, it's not going to make a fucking difference in my life if they're like tomorrow. Like, if tomorrow we all woke up and collectively we're like, actually, the earth is flat, I'd be like, girl, get it together. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, at this point, after the election, I'm down to go down some rabbit holes and start being that crazy lady that's like, it's all a hoax.
Yeah.
Everything you see. So the
it
next
really
one,
is, though.
Yes, the next one is a whole civilization below us. If you've seen Us, remember they were like, there's different clones of them, but I don't really know if they were clones.
Yeah, they were like the tethered. They were like your mirror.
The tethered.
Yeah.
Yes. And so a whole bunch of them were living underground. But believers claim that there's an advanced society that has managed to thrive underground for centuries. They have entrances in remote locations, like the depths of the Amazon rainforest, under the pyramids, or even a secret tunnel in Antarctica. So like some speculate that hidden portals within famous mountains or caves that lead directly to the underground world. Let's go explore. Let's go find that out.
Yeah. I honestly would love if this was all true, because I feel like at this point, the way that the world is going, finding out that there's a whole other like civilization that's underground, I'm like, bitch, me too. Take me too. Let's go.
What if you saw you're tethered?
I'd make out with it.
Oh. I would be like,
what do you mean?
do
I'd
you
be
emotional eat?
like, finally, the man of my dreams. Where have you been, girl? Oh, underground.
Oh.
Makes sense.
I would cut off all her hair.
Make her the ugly twin.
I would shave everything, her eyebrows. I would keep her
like,
PCOS beard.
Which one of us is the top, though? And who's the bottom? That's what those would be my concerns. Is that weird that I would have sex with myself? That's not weird.
No, because we all do it all the time.
That's true. If you're a healthy adult, you do it all the time.
What do you call it?
Adult hugs.
Adult hugs.
I'm giving myself an adult hug. But yeah, I feel like if I were to find out that there was like truly just a civilization, like reptilians or like a whole other tunnel city underground, I think that it would allow me to make more sense of the world that we're in now. Because the older I get, the less sense this world actually makes to me. You know what I mean? The more that I'm like, what are you talking about? There's a second moon. What do you mean there's like an asteroid that's like in orbit? Is it gone? Is it still here? I think it's still here.
I don't know. I just found out yesterday that Love Island Australia is back. So that's been
on your conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that's my conspiracy theory. I think that maybe the underground civilization is probably where my one true love is. And so that's why maybe we should just like, if we were in like a movie, I feel like that would be something that the adventure we would go through, is to find that all of the most like monumental places to see if they have an underground.
How fucked up is our dating life that we're like, surely the man of our dreams
is she's probably underground.
Underground, has never seen the light of day, is like
you
living in a swamp where like he'll do, Lord, it's fine. He don't speak a lick of English. You're like, it's okay.
I have nothing against swamps. Nothing against. You own land?
Yeah,
okay.
He owns property.
He owns property? I'm good. Where's your car? No car?
No car.
Okay.
It's like a boat.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like for me, there's not a single thing right now. I think that I've just become more and more jaded that I'd be like, yeah, of course that happened. Like, you have to also understand, like, I think our generation and anyone who's alive right now, like, we've just gone through so many crazy things that you're like,
we haven't had a break.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, of course, like there is like a fucking like COVID thing. Oh yeah, of course there's like a giant recession. Oh yeah, like of course there's
9/11.
like 9/11, like Y2K, like all these things. Like it's just over and over and over again, like just sensational ass things. Meanwhile, if you're like a bird or like a squirrel, you've been living your best damn life. Like there was
another thing, I don't know if I wrote it down, but that birds are also like spies. And that when they're on the telephone pole wires, that they're recharging. I don't know about that.
I have a little theory that squirrels are either going to be the next elite race. For me, it's the race between squirrels, crows, and octopus.
I have to argue about the squirrels because they're greedy motherfuckers.
Yeah, okay? What do you think humans are?
They're little chunky motherfuckers where they like, I see them all day long when I'm working here, all throughout, and they're just like,
Yeah.
And then if there's somebody by them, they'll fuck them up.
That's literally human. That's literally human.
It's like a squirrel like porno out here in front of like my apartment complex because they're getting down all day and they're all over. And then
they're fearless.
Yeah. And then when they're by you, like some of them will run away, some of them will be like, what's up?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, they
will square up on you. They are like in my head, you know, when you like see videos of like these buff ass kangaroos in Australia, they might as well be the squirrels in LA because I'm just like, when I see these squirrels like kind of get like kind of get big, I'm like, you are way too buff, sir. I will cross the street to avoid a squirrel.
And they'll chase you.
And they'll fuck you up. So anyway, I think that the squirrels are doing... Crows are really cool because they actually like are really smart. They will like put things in the street so that they can like break it so they can eat it. So like they'll throw like seeds in the street so that the cars will run over them. They bring you gifts. Like they're very smart at bringing... They're just smart. They have good memory. They remember things. And then octopus, they're fucking aliens. You know, they fucking open jars and shit.
I have nothing but good things to say about octopi because they're going to take over probably. The next one is probably the most confusing and irritating thing. Like, I feel like this is gaslighting 101. The Mandela effect, right? Which is named after mistakenly remembering Nelson Mandela dying in the 80s. This theory suggests that there are parallel universes that we are living in simulated reality where details are being altered. So the first one, and I don't know if you had been familiar, but the Berenstain Bears.
I don't know the Berenstain Bears, but you were telling me about them.
Berenstain Bears it started as a children's book series, but then I think it was maybe on Nickelodeon. It was like a cartoon, and I always thought it was the Berenstain Bears, Stein, but it's the Berenstain Bears. Stain?
Berenstain.
This difference in spelling has puzzled people who could have sworn it was spelled with an E. I'm like, either we're all collectively dyslexic, hard of hearing, dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
Or you guys are changing shit. For what?
I know, like we're jumping timelines.
Another one is the popular quote from Star Wars, Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father. Luke, I am your father.
Ooh.
Hey, boo. No, it'll be like, hey, boo, I'm your dad.
So, I'm your daddy.
Hey, boo. Hey, Lukey, boo. So, I guess I'm your dad. Funny story.
It's actually, no, I am your father. It's not, Luke, I am your father. It's,
no, Luke, I am your father. No, I am your father.
I wonder if just got lost because you wouldn't get the reference. Like if I was at a dinner party and I was like, no, I am your father. People be like, what? Versus if you go, Luke, I am your father. Like, you know who Luke is.
Right. Like kind of like how we've ran into the ground and popularized, the Harry Potter thing.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's a lot of things that we changed from that. The original. Ron is not as intense as we're all making him be. Mm-hmm. Like, he was like, you're. He just says you're, you.
Oh, yeah.
So I believe that we may be like, because we're all artists and creatives, like maybe we, embellished it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But another one that tripped me up is from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The evil queen is looking in the mirror. And what is she saying?
I think, without even looking at it, I think it's mirror, mirror on the wall. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of them all? She's actually saying magic mirror on the wall. Magic mirror on the wall.
In the movie?
In the movie, she says magic mirror on the wall.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Magic mirror on the wall. Magic mirror, mirror.
I guess magic mirror sounds better.
Are we not interpreting things?
Mirror, mirror on the wall. I guess it's kind of like when you would play telephone when you were like in school and like remember that game where like one person on the end would say something and then it would just like get lost in translation.
It embellishes, yeah.
But this is why I don't trust a damn thing about nothing because I'm like, we can barely get magic mirror on the wall from Snow White that was made in 1937. How are we going to write the same accurately from whatever time and be like, nope, This is what God meant. You're like, you can't even get Mirror, Mirror right versus Magic Mirror. What the fuck?
Some honorable mentions. Oscar Mayer. See, I say Oscar Mayer versus Oscar Mayer.
It's Oscar Mayer, though, right?
Is that how you say it?
I think it's pronounced Oscar Mayer.
It's spelled with an Meyer. Yeah, we remember it as Meyer, but it's actually Mayer.
What was that song back in the Mi hot tiene un nombre, mi balona también. Oscar Mayer es el nombre que a mí me cae muy bien.
I think yeah. A lot of this makes a lot of sense now.
They used to play that on Sábado Gigante a lot back in the day. So I would be like, mi hot dog tiene un nombre, mi balona también. Anyways.
The other one is Looney Tunes versus Looney Tunes. People remember it being called Looney Tunes with TOONS, but it's actually TUE.
But that's also just dumb because they didn't even sing on there. Well, they did a little bit, but it wasn't like, oh, it's a musical show. I don't remember it being like particularly musical.
They did little musical bits, but yeah, I don't
not enough to call it Looney Tunes.
Oh, you're right. Because people, despite the characters being cartoons, yeah, they had an opportunity there because they're tunes.
Yeah, exactly. Looney Tunes. But maybe it became, maybe it was supposed to be musical.
What is the beginning song?
Nope. I don't know. I just have the Oscar Mayer Wiener song stuck in my head because it's in English too, right? Like my hot dog has a first name. It's OSCAR. My bologna has a second name. It's MEYER. I think that's how it went, right? Or am I making it up?
But it's MA.
Okay, quick ADHD sidebar. Do you remember that Kraft Cheese had this like blues song? It was like, I got the blues, Kraft macaroni and cheese.
I think
the jukebox blue. And then he was like, I put the pedal to the metal. Hurry on home, I got the blues. That was, anyways, the 90s was the
slice
best.
of cheese. Oh, I can't wait to get that slice of cheese.
Yeah, I mean, God bless the 90s for the jingles. That was the end of the jingle. That was the end of the era.
And I'm happy to have grown up in that era because there's not creativity like that. There's not pure delusion and silliness like that anymore.
Okay, next one.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Beyonce is part of the Illuminati.
That's your claim?
You know, I don't know that I believe that. That's what people claim. Some people believe that Beyonce is secretly a witch or part of the Illuminati, which is a secret society that allegedly controls world events. This theory often focuses on her use of occult symbols, her success, and her influential power in the music industry. Here's the thing. I don't feel like you have to be part of like Illuminati or like this like underground organization that's like, ooh, secret. I think we all know that the music industry and the entertainment industry is already a fucked up organization. Like, it's just kind of like, why add the extra twist to it? No. We know that they're part of this. We know it's fucked up. We know it's crazy. What do you mean? Like, why the extra? You know, like
a little racism, misogyny.
I think Beyonce to me is a little bit different because she has like her family and she's always been rooted in her family. You never saw her go crazy. She was technically a child star. Like you didn't see her go through a lot of things that a lot of people did. So I don't necessarily want to put like too much on like taking away from her credit and being like, she's Illuminati. But to me, it's like we all are a part of this. Not us, but like, not us. Definitely not us. I'm not a part of Illuminati.
Well, if they asked me, I would say, can I get a manual or something? Or
how much is
more
the
information?
How much is the membership in this? Can we see a brochure?
Yeah, can we see a brochure?
Why do you feel like thinking about Beyonce's being an Illuminati feels racist or misogynistic?
I think it's because some people can't fathom a woman, especially a Black woman, being so fucking talented that she's reaching, higher heights than anyone. Like, if we're talking about the symbols, I understand why people might associate, like, demonic things or whatever, because people who are super religious in that way can make anything out of anything, Like, did you see at 27 seconds, her eyes crossed, it looked like she was, like, whatever, summoning, and it's like, I sneezed.
Yeah.
But I understand, like, when she was doing like the triangle hand thing, but they're doing the Rock Nation thing, right? But what is that? So I understand there's a little bit of like, okay, I'll give you that. But I think she's so talented that, like, I do think that she uses her magic and her skill set to promote self-love. Like, when we were at her concert at Renaissance tour, all of her songs on Renaissance are a love song to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and if she's putting some subliminal shit in it, so be it. You know what I'm saying? We've all seen Josie and the Pussycats, right?
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but I've already subscribed to it. I'm already in it.
I feel like I'm in. Like, I love it. Like, I will say that one interesting thing that I thought was just kind of like the artwork, how it is very goddess-like. Like, there is this like goddess feel about watching her and then like seeing it, which I'm not mad at, because I'm just like, oh, fuck it. I need something to believe in at this point. Like, and if it's Beyonce, shit, then I'm fucking like, I'm down for it. I saw this old Wendy Williams clip where she was like, Beyonce is literally the best artist the greatest artist that has ever lived, dead or alive, hands down. And the audience was like, you know, they agreed. And I kind of, I'm gonna say, yeah, I agree with that. I think she is.
I agree. She is.
Okay, next one. Taylor Swift is a reptilian alien. Well, I would love to be reptilian. We can skip. I would love to be reptilian, to be honest. Like, did you see that Kim K's costume this year was an alligator woman, an albino alligator woman? And I literally saw the photo and I'm like, oh, she's playing into the whole reptilian thing. So I immediately go to the comments. Everyone's talking about how she's a reptilian. Everyone's like, oh yeah, she's a fucking reptilian. And I'm like, so? She's paying bills around here.
I'm not. No comment on Kim Kardashian.
That is my one toxic trait, I would say. Well, maybe my second. But certainly, I am like, the Kardashians will be my white noise sometimes. Like, I would just put it on the background and be like, I just want to stare at their faces and be like, how is this? Which brings us to like our next conspiracy theory, which is the Kardashians are secretly time travelers. And I'm like, I don't know that they're time travelers.
I think they tried to time travel by getting procedures and everything and rewinding the clock, which, I mean, I think they all look great. I think that's all I think.
Yeah, for me, I'm just kind of like, this kind of goes hand in hand with what I believe was just like the shifts of where I started to see things early on. Like, you know how I was talking about ancient aliens being like the beginning of like conspiracy theories, right? I also believe that there was a moment in time in fashion, like in the early 2000s, where opulence was kind of back. Like the gaudy gold chains. Yeah, like the colorful, the big colors. Like the 80s were really back for a moment in the early 2000s with a lot of the millennials and a lot of people in their 20s, right? Then Kim and Kanye came out with that leisure wear that was only in earth tones. Like, I just remember that it was like totally like the opposite of what I felt like people were doing. And it became kind of like the thing that people just were suddenly wearing only earth tones, right? Fast forward, if you would have been like, girl, I always say this, if you would have told me that a reality star, Kim Kardashian, who became famous off of a sex tape, for better or for worse, she's done a lot of amazing things since then, but that's how we knew her back in the day, would be on the cover of Vogue. My first question would be like, is Anna Wintour still alive? Yes or no? Oh, Anna Wintour put her on the cover twice? Oh, okay. Like, then I'm like, okay. Because now you get to where we are now, where you're like, oh, how does it make sense that the man in office is a convicted felon, has all these things?
Elected. He's the elected president as right now.
You know what I mean?
Now.
Elected
Not
president, like
yet.
Also a reality star. Like, I really just feel like I'm like, girl, this is just all.
Because he cheated everything.
Reptilians.
These people cheat.
I will say this one thing, though, that I'm just like, what timeline is this? Because I'm just like, whatever timeline this is.
Remember I said before where I was like, I feel like we just shifted into another one. Mm-hmm. Like, we shifted into one, you said, in 2016. Mm-hmm. And by the way, remember that night? Like, everyone was like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
People were sobbing and crying. And then 2020 with the pandemic, we shifted into another one. And then I feel like we just shifted into another one.
I know. I'm just like, Lord, where is the timeline where I am a pop star and very rich?
Just do it now. Just do it.
I can't really dance and breathe and sing at the same time.
That's why people train. Just do it.
And now for our astrology section.
Okay. So there's a lot of people who would definitely categorize astrology, zodiac as fake, as a conspiracy theory. And especially when these astrologers go onto the internet and make predictions, right? And astrology at its core is the interpretation of stars. So everybody has, and there's also, I want to say, endless amount of ways and pathways to get to an interpretation. Like for this presidency, people were looking at Trump's and Kamala's moon. They were looking at their moon, and they saw that they were illuminated in different ways. Some people were looking at Jupiter because we have like the outer planets, right, which control us. Those outer planets control the outer, like, that's my favorite when I see you go holding in a yawn. Now I got a yawn.
It has never to do anything with what I'm talking about, but I'm like,
My
here
mom
it comes.
does it all the time. She's always like, I do it too, where I'm like, you swallow it. The outer planets like, Jupiter, Pluto, Uranus, and like all of these giant planets, right, have to do with our nation, have to do with like all the things affecting us. Like they're in rotation, all that stuff. Same thing with like how it affects our Mars, your Mars, whatever. So there's a lot of people who determined Kamala as the winner, and everybody is attacking all these astrologers right now as like, you're fake, you're biased, you're blah blah blah. And what they're seeing is real though, but there's also different ways and platforms to interpret on. So are they reading from this dimension, or are they reading from another thing? Like, how are these things manifesting? It's like when you read from whole size chart or sidereal or Vedic, like, our signs shift a little bit. So I think that's my little like,
I'm reaching into my bags. I need chapstick. I'm just like,
no, but that's my little thing that I just want to say about astrology is that it's an interpretation, and I just don't like when people are like, people just want instant gratification. They want to know the answers right now. And like, these people are talented, like people who study astrology. So like, don't call them fake or don't call them whatever. However, when this information gets into the hands of people who are not as educated or have not really studied or just looking at one sign or whatever, people claim that horoscopes are used to influence people's behavior subtly and can be a little manipulative.
I think so too.
In the best way or in the worst way.
Yeah. I feel like with me, like what horoscope and what zodiac could potentially do, if it was actually like seen as like a science, right? Like truly like in the way that like people write reports, they write like contrasting ideas, they are debating, there is data, there are a series of tests, like control tests per sign, all these different things. Like if we treated the zodiac as a true science and all the weight of it, right? I really think that we could have something, right? Because I do believe that we live in a universe of zeros and ones. I'm not even sure that I believe in free will, to be honest with you, because I do feel like we all live in the same patterns based off of our trauma, based off of our brains, based off of like whatever. Like it's a little bit easier to be like, I know that she or he or they are gonna use the same route to drive home that they do every day. I know that this person's going to order the same shrimp scampi at the Cheesecake Factory. They always do. There's certain habits, right? So I wonder, like, if we got it down to a science and we could be like, actually, we know how people are going to vote in this thing, how people are going to vote in this election, like, because we're so easily, like, it's so easy to determine which way they're going to go. So that's my one thing. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, if we really, really, really nailed it in, I'm sure we could get something, right? My only bone to pick, and this is why I think my little Zodiac videos have been doing pretty okay on TikTok and Zodiac, is because I'm pushing back on... They've been doing well. Like, I've been pushing back on kind of like the narrative of what people think signs actually are. Like, you know, when people are like, Virgos are perfectionists and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we are to like a certain extent. Like Virgos are, you know, we're going to be perfectionists in some areas, but not all areas. But if you want to talk about perfectionism, talk to a Capricorn, right? Maybe even a Sagittarius, maybe even a Pisces. Like they're just so in their heads. Like they really care about things, right? Like if like for me, but you know, if you talk to like a Leo, people think, oh, Leos like attention. I don't really know a lot of Leos that are like as opulent as a Taurus is. Like Tauruses are like bougie as fuck, you know? So I'm like,
Yeah. Do you agree in your Virgo experience that August and September Virgos are different?
yeah, I mean, yeah, you would say that about Aries, right? You know that. Like,
Yeah, I don't like those blanket statements that are like Aries are aggressive and Aries are blah blah blah. It's like, my aggression shows up differently in different ways, and also it influences a lot with like what am I being aggressive towards? Is it
yeah,
something that someone that I love? Is it something that like is affecting my other planets, my other houses? Like there's just so much to unravel
absolutely.
about it. And also, astronomers and scientists know that it's real. There's a theory that these scientists and astronomers secretly believe in astrology and use it for their own purposes, but publicly dismiss it as a pseudoscience to prevent general population from exploring it seriously. I believe that also because it is a tool and you have to get educated on it, though. You can't just look at something and say, like, oh, that's what it is. You have to really look at the degrees. You have to, like, punch the numbers. You have to, like, really, really look into it. And I think that's why people get uninterested because it's really extensive.
But that's what I wonder too. Like, if it almost sounds like we come with a coding, right? Like, these are codes, like the planets and the placements and the numbers and their codes. And I'm like, what if I align my code with your code? And can we see how they're different? And can we test it and be like, this code can kind of do this? This is what we're thinking. Like, there's something more, is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like sometimes Zodiac feels like we have the idea, like we're there, but we're like not.
I think there's some things that we are not supposed to know. Like, that's just not in the plan of whoever is controlling or manifesting these things. I also believe that I don't really like to use astrology for everything to make decisions. I like to like listen to it as, you know, little things and see what's up, but then also, you know, use my free will if it exists or not.
Well, last conspiracy theory, do you believe in free will?
Yeah, but I do believe that it's still influenced by a higher power and a spirit and I feel like when we are making decisions, like it's coming from a place rooted from somewhere. Like it's not just random, you know, it's always coming from some place. And it's also like, what is that?
Yeah. It's one of the things that I was watching with Neil Tyson deGrasse.
Uh-huh.
He was debating another like astrophysicist on like if free will is real, because there's a lot of different things that you have to consider, like your patterns and the way that things are, but also just like accidents, like things that just kind of come out of nowhere and happen. And then how do you react to that? Like, so like there's basically what they came down to it is that it's a mixture of both. It's actually a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's a little bit of free will, but it's a lot of bit of like destiny, basically. It is what it is, boo. You are who you are.
And that concludes the astrology portion. Well, curls.
Well, Maya, here we are on the other end of this crazy election. Hopefully we have many years of prosperity ahead of us, you know?
We need to have fight in us. We need to have fight and passion. And also, I think a lot of the things, if I just want to say one little thing too, is that a lot of people are like, just treat everyone with kindness. Let everyone process the way they need to process. There's nothing in my bone that wants to be kind to anyone, knowing that my rights might be taken away and the rights of my friends and loved ones. That makes me angry as fuck. Like, but I can see a world where if we make people understand how serious it is, it's not going to be through yelling and name calling and, you know, I get it, but it's also like, let people fucking grieve the way they need to grieve. And I think we're just going to have a lot of like warrior ancestral spirit in us to get through
Yeah, I agree. Also,
This
too,
stuff.
I would invite people who are like saying like, "What's the whatever?" I'm like, I think even just looking at optics of those charts that are coming out, like just even being like, how many like white men, Latino men, and then how many black women voted a certain type of way. Like, how do you not go like, shit? If that many black women voted a certain type of way, they must be onto something. Do you know what I mean? Like, how does that occur to you, babes? Like, okay, whatever. Here we go. Let's see what's up. So, anyways, guys, conspiracy theories, whatever the hell's going on in this world, God love ya. Sending you love.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Super Secret Bestie Club podcast. Curly, how can they find you on social media?
You can find me at The Curly V Show on Instagram and TikTok. Maya, where can people find you?
Oh, me? You can find me at Maya in the Moment, MAYA in the Moment, anywhere where you scroll. And this was all an illusion. This is all a conspiracy theory. We're not really here.
This whole episode is fake. We're not even here. We're actually AI.
Bye.
Bye.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button to hear more episodes every single week. The Super Secret Bestie Club podcast is a production of Sonoro in partnership with iHeartRadio's My Cultura podcast network.
For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.